What's up, guys? We had a busy 2 days. So yesterday is where we saw a lot of the vaccine names and vaccine stocks like MRNA and Vax selling off drastically on the daily chart. Given that those stocks were already really extended. If you just look at the mRNA daily chart, you know what I'm talking about. And it was the same idea with the other Chinese electric vehicle stocks. The entire sector just kind of tanked altogether. So yesterday I had a pretty decent day shorting these stocks. And today, usually when we see a massive sell-off the day before, today usually we'll pop and get some more follow through to the downside. But unfortunately today that wasn't the case. With SSR triggered on a lot of these large cap stocks, it seems like everyone was just buying the dip. Right? We had a major sell-off in the morning, and after that the stock just grinding back up. So unfortunately today is a red day, giving back some profit I made yesterday, but it's all within my risk control, but it does suck a little bit. Like after a very good day, the next day, I'm having a small pullback myself, but let's get into the recap. So MRNA was the biggest trade for me yesterday, and this is what I meant earlier by the stock is very extended on the daily. You can see we pretty much went from 90s to 100 and 100 all the way to 150 on Monday, and Tuesday, yesterday, it gapped up all the way to 180s pre-market. I was more short biased on the stock given how extended we are. We had a major gap up overnight as well. And I started shorting around the spikes. I wasn't in on this major top of the day, 176, 178. I started scaling in short. If you were looking at how it was trading, it just keeps on trying to spike above to 175, 174s, but keeps on failing. And that's where I was trying to be patient with the stock. You've seen me getting chopped up by mRNA before, but the price action on this particular day was very, very telling. And that's why I was more convicted to staying short and keeping the short position. I did cover around the core position. You can see here, I did even reshorted here, covered some just in case. Just need to make sure it's a comfortable share sizes and holding short, because it doesn't matter how great your setup is, there's still a chance of it being wrong, right? Nothing is 100% in day trading. So I'm covering around the core, but I'm not afraid to add back in shorts. You can see I shorted somewhere here, somewhere here. This is where I covered some just in case. Okay, I'm holding a nice average at this point around 170s. 170s with a nice share size I'm comfortable with. If it does spike and hold 174s, I have to cover for a loss. But if my thesis is correct, if it does roll over, I'm gonna get 10, 20 points move to the downside, which we got. The first major sell-off was down to 162. That's where I covered a bunch, right? That's a 10-point drop. I want to make sure I'm covering some, and then I cover some more on the secondary 164s, and I was all out at 158. That's from 170 to 158. That's a very, very nice profit. And then, it bounced a little bit, I scalped it a little bit, thinking that, okay, we're probably going to consolidate around 160s, and then, we might chop it around. I didn't know we're gonna get this kind of move on the same day, on the first red day. Usually a lot of times we'll chop around the lows and we get this kind of follow through to the downside on the second day. But news did come out today, which is the day after this major sell-off, that somebody sold a huge stake in mRNA. And that's where, okay, everything starts to make sense, right? Yesterday, this thing just literally couldn't bounce that high. It had a nice bounce from 154 to 164. And then just sold off the entire day down to 134, even lower 130s at the end of the day. I scalped it a little bit, but I didn't like to short and chase the weakness on the way down. So I definitely did leave a lot on the table, but I'm still very happy about this, very happy about my patience. You can see if you zoom in on the chart, this is pretty much a short from 170s down to 163s, and then my lowest cover was 159. So to me, yeah, I did leave a lot on the table, but I'm still very happy, and I feel like I took the meat of the move. No, I didn't see this happening. I honestly didn't, but it did stay really weak. And funny enough, because today is the day I lost money on mRNA. So mRNA was my main focus yesterday, but I do still trade some smaller stocks on the side. I never got a big size on the, I was short a little bit and then I longed it here. I never got a big size on these just because I was focused on mRNA. So this one, I had a short. I cut a loss early on, took a loss, and I re-shorted it back down around $8 down to, $8.20s down to $8. And I tanked all the way to 740s. Would have been nice to hold it short, but I didn't. And this way we got a very nice long off the consolidation levels around 760s up to $8. I should have sold more, but I got stopped out on the rest. And then it actually just went all the way to $9 and 960s. So can't catch them all in the stock market. And then it sold off all the way back down. So very small trade for me on the short side and a long side on BlackBerry. So yesterday my main focus was on that mRNA shorts we just talked about, and then I did do pretty well on it. I'm really happy about it. And today you can see I was looking for follow through to the downside. If you look at yesterday, we sold off down to 130s. At the low of the day, we had a small gap up to pre-market about 150s, and then we sold off with the entire market off the open down to 130s. SSR was already triggered yesterday, and then so my thesis was that I'm gonna short the major bounces. I was thinking, we might get a bounce to 141, 142s, and then this thing just kept on going. So this is where, sometimes you have to be careful what you wish for, because I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna get a bounce to 140s, I'm gonna short it back down. And when I say a bounce, it actually did bounce, and it bounced a lot further than I thought it would. So overall net red on mRNA short today. But let's go over this. I did try the short early on, small size, nothing big. This is where I started scaling in. I did short mRNA 3 separate times today. The first time was a small scalp, nothing big, small profit. This is where I've made the first loss here, thinking that, okay, they're gonna reject previous day close. They didn't. They held it and squeezed, and I got stopped out here. So that's the first loss on mRNA today. And then I tried it again, scaling around here, thinking that, okay, like if you look at this candle, this looks like a fake out, right? It looks like a false breakout spike to 155 and immediately rejected back down to 143s. So that's where I went back in again, smaller size this time around. That's why I'm comfortable cutting it right away when it's not right here around the high of the day at the time, the wick area. I'm out second time for a second loss. So it's not fun. So I'm overall net red from the day, from this ticker. Now the third time is the time where it actually works. So I scaled in short around here, 149s, re-added some more, covered some just to make sure I'm on the right thesis this time around, because technically this is the third time I'm shorting the stock. And then I re-added here thinking that, okay, level didn't hold, we're actually trending down. I re-added, added more, covered some, re-added some more, final size, and covered everything here. And then very good cover too, because after this third short, it just grinded back up and then squeezed out more shorts to the 148s area. So the third trade did work. I made back some losses from the previous shorts, but still red on the sticker. Unfortunately, gave back some profits from yesterday. So that's the first loss on the day. The second loss is XPEV. So this one, the same, very similar thesis as I had on mRNA. And that's why, I shorted this. This one is a smaller loss in general. You can see basically the same idea, thinking that, okay, we're going to reject previous day close. Didn't work. I stopped out starter. And then I stopped out again here. And then this one, that did work, but I'm still net red on XPEV. So the third trade on the day was a long and then a short. I did think that the massive sell-off on NIO was going to get bought back up. I longed it around this area, 39.10s. I started in very early, but I had a very nice average after this ad, about 39.50s. And then once it started to bounce, it just bounced to $40. I sold all of it, thinking that, okay, I want to make sure it's going to just keep on trending up. And it did here. That's why I went in long again. And I sold into $42. This, the NIO long was the only green trade on the day. And then I went in short NIO thinking the same thing as XPEV, shorted around 43.60s, re-added, and then after this level reclaims, I was like, okay, like they are not gonna let this thing back down. And I covered everything here. And then you can see just like XPEV and MRNA, this thing just kept on grinding up and actually held green on the day, and it's going up higher. It seems like the similar action across the board. We have some massive sell-off at the open, and then we just kept on going up. And no, definitely a lot of people got squeezed today. I'm one of them, but I'm still okay just because I managed my losses, even though it sucks to kind of have a red day after a very nice green day the day before. I just want to live to trade another day, right? That's how I kind of stay afloat in this game. It's all about risk management. Usually these would be the days where we can get some nice follow through to the downside. You wait for the bounce on a second red day, and then you see a nice continuation selling off, but that's just not the case today. And I was wrong on my thesis. I just have to accept it and manage my risk. And I don't want to give back all the profits I made yesterday. So it's time for some Q&A. So Luca is asking, here's a question: when you realize that your initial trading plan failed, for example, PLTR and MRNA, what are the main reasons for you to go long? Do you give yourself any time to reflect, rebuild? Do you think a failed short entry results in a successful entry for going long? So this is a very good question, and I think there's no black and white answer to this. Whether sometimes the shorts that fail does result in a flip, right, in going long. But I think that's depending on the setup, right? Depending on where it failed and where it held back up. So let me just take a step back. So I think a trader who knows their setups really well is also one who knows that when the setup is not working. You have to know when, that's how I traded my setups today, right? When I realized that, okay, this setup is wrong, my thesis is wrong, you also want to know when to get out. It's just as important to know when you are right as it is to know when you have to give up and stop out. I think that's very important because no one single strategy is going to be 100% successful all the time. You have to know when the setup is not looking right, when the stock is not acting according to your plan. And you have to get out and respect your losses. I think that's very important. And that's what makes a trader a professional trader and one that's consistent. You have to know when to take losses. It's just as important as knowing how to make money. You have to know how to take losses. So for the example that Luca is referring to, I didn't flip long on PLTR. I just recognized that it was holding too well. It's not selling off. But you have to see whether it's a long setup, right? If your short failed, it doesn't automatically make it a long. You have to assess it from the eyes of a long trader at that point and whether that's your long setup. At the time, PLTR wasn't a long setup, and I didn't flip long. But for mRNA, this stock I know pretty well most of the time, not today. This stock I know that when it should have failed, but keeps on getting propped back up, especially above on the day he's mentioning about pre-market highs. Usually that's a long setup for me because mRNA, it's a stock that reacts very, very drastically to the pre-market high level and the high of the day levels. So that's the day I actually flipped long. But if we're talking about today, how I traded, I didn't see a long setup in the mRNA. I only see a short setup. So that's why I never flipped long. So I think it's very important. It's not that, if my long failed, then you're short. It's dependent on your setups. But I think it's very important to first know when to stop out on whether on your long and short, and then work on potentially flipping the other way around later on. But you have to know when to stop out first. That's the most important part in trading, I think. It's about managing your risk and knowing when to accept a loss, because sometimes you just gotta take the loss and you cannot just keep on holding on to a loser all the way to the top. That's the surest way to blow up. So second question is from Neb B. got a question, what are your views on options trading? I only do day trade and swing trade at a time, but I'm looking into the other. So I'm a firm believer that if you don't know how to trade stocks profitably, then you shouldn't trade options. Because options, you have to take into consideration not just the price action and the trend, but also the premiums. And so it exaggerates both your profits and losses. Yes, I've seen people make 500%, 1,000% on the options trades, but I've also seen people lose 50% or all of their options contracts. So I think if you know how to trade stocks, then options will be a good way for you to kind of, expand and leverage more of your buying power. But a lot of new traders, when they don't know how to trade stocks, they move on to options thinking that, I can turn $100 into $10,000 really quick. That's actually the quickest way people blow up their account. And I'm saying that because some of my biggest losses from my earlier years of trading in my first year or two were from options contracts expiring worthless. I already didn't know what I was doing trading these stocks, so let alone trying to figure out what all the Greeks mean. So, I think, so that's just my thoughts on it, on options trading. I think you can make money on it, but you definitely want to learn how to trade stocks first. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and the bad jokes. If you want to see more day trading content, make sure to subscribe and follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more. If you'd like to trade with me daily and get my free weekend watch list and trading journal, make sure to check out the links below for more resources. Stay green, stay positive, and I'll see you guys next time.